think. So in this world, we're always looking for some kind of shelter, some sort of security. We want to know that when we walk down the street, in our house, in our vehicle, that we're going to be secure. But the unfortunate reality, according to the Bhagavad Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, is that our shelters in this world are actually what we call fallible soldiers. That means like a little toy plastic soldier. You know, you can make it look maybe like a museum piece, like a real soldier, and you push it and it falls down. So we think my family will protect me, my money will protect me, my government will protect me, right? But we find in the end that there's no shelter. So this Jagannath, he is the real shelter. He is not fallible. And once a year he comes out from the temple and he makes the shelter available to everyone. Normally we're working so hard to find shelter in places that are actually fallible. So we spend a lot of our energy, we spend a lot of our intelligence, and what we get back is like a little toy piece of plastic. But in this case, we're getting the shelter of the Lord of the universe, and it is on sale. Normally, if you want to see the Lord of the universe, you have to travel to Vaikuntha. It's not so easy. Or you can say a little easier, you can go to the temple. But now he comes in his Rath and he comes to you. Or the main festival is always in Puri, but then you have to travel to Puri. But here he is in Chennai. So the ultimate shelter, and right here. Why is he the ultimate shelter? He's the support of everything. Actually, it's explained all the planets are resting on his head. Just like if you had a little grain of sand or a little mustard seed on your head, you wouldn't even feel it. You know, some of these ladies, they can walk with these 5 pots on their heads and keep their balance. But for Jagannath, he can hold the whole universe on his head, and he doesn't have to try to keep his balance. It's just like a little, he doesn't even know it's there, a little tiny seed. So he is the shelter of the shelter. Our ultimate shelter is the earth, the ground. He's the shelter of the shelter. And he's coming to us. Normally we have to go to him. So the ultimate shelter, on sale. Even if materially, if you want to see a very important person, you have to go to them, isn't it? Someone who's superior to you, who's your senior, you cannot call them to come to you. You have to go to them. But once a year, he comes to us. And he comes everywhere. So my Guru, Srila Prabhupada, he brought this Jagannath Ratha Yathara to the whole world. In 1967, we had our first Ratha-Yathra in San Francisco. There wasn't a very fancy cart then. Someone just rented a truck. But it was the beginning. And now Jagannath is going on the streets of all the major cities. London and Toronto and New York, down Fifth Avenue and Rio de Janeiro. And in many of these cities, the mayor of the town will say, "Oh, special festival for Jagannath." Even though they're not a Hindu, still they're saying, yes, this is a special festival for Jagannath. The whole city is going to celebrate. And how does one get this shelter? It's very easy. You just, this is going to be very funny. You grab hold of the rope and you pull Jagannath. Jagannath is pulling everyone. He's moving all the planets. He's the air inside our body. He's our ability of motion, our ability of digestion, our ability of vision, of hearing and thinking. He's moving everything. He is the wind. So you think, to take his shelter, I simply surrender like this. And he carries me. In fact, he says, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham, I will carry you. But in this Ratha-Yathra, we are carrying him. We are carrying him. This is because ultimately, Bhagavan is a person who has lila, who has playful pastimes of reciprocation with his bhaktas. And in one sense, Jagannath is already giving shelter to everyone. But when you participate in his lila, then you get his special favor. So therefore they say, one who just sees the wrath card attains moksha. Just to see. But this is his play. Although he is moving everything, we pull the rope and we move him. So what is this moving him? So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the story of Krishna and how he was brought up in Vrindavan. You know the story? So Krishna appeared in Mathura as a prince, and then because Kamsa was ruling, he went to Vrindavan. And there he lived as if he was just a village boy, although he's Bhagavan, and he's taking care of the cows. Actually, even in this world, a very big and important and wealthy person likes to have a place in the country. Correct? Yes? Away from the responsibilities with flowers and fruits and gardens. So Krishna also liked that. But then, to deal with Kamsa and the many demoniac governments at the time, he left Vrindavan. He went to Mathura and Dwarka. Yada yada hidarnasya glanirada bharata abhitinamadarnasya tadatamanamsvajana purchanayasnaya vinashaya vinashaya, destroying the duskritam. So he wasn't in Vrindavan. And then at the solar eclipse, he came to Kurukshetra. And the devotees from Vrindavan also came. And they, with their, not with the real rope, but with a rope of love, they were pulling. Come back to Vrindavan. That is the place where you find the most happiness. So this Ratha-Yatra is the symbol of taking the Lord to his most intimate place. It is the festival of the heart. And anyone who assists Jagannath in coming to his most intimate place by pulling the chariot, Jagannath is so grateful. And he gives full shelter. Okay? That is surrender. Surrender is not just... Surrender is how can I serve? How can I facilitate? And then when we do that kind of surrender, then one gets all shelter. There may still be difficulties in life, but one feels this shelter. So this festival, of course, has been going on in Jagannath Puri for as long as there's been a temple. It's going on all over our international society for Krishna consciousness all over the world. And in Chennai, it's been going on for 30 years. And it may seem very simple. There's so many parades, so many festivals. This is just another, but it's not. And when something this great is on sale for this cheap, how can one pass up the opportunity? Just to come and grab the rope and pull. And then one will feel safe and secure no matter what. So many things will happen in life, undoubtedly. But one will know it is not me. I am the soul, and I am under the shelter of Jagannath. And therefore, none of the evils of the world can actually touch me. So we invite all of you to find this shelter, this security. This is the real guardian of our security. Not all of our little plastic soldiers. We may think they're great soldiers, and at some point they fall over. And they reveal, just like we cannot ultimately protect anyone else, so no one else but the Lord of the universe can ultimately protect us. see Jagannath in this form also. It's very unusual form. Generally, when we see the form of Bhagavan, he says Vishnu, right? Or is it Krishna? Or one of his other forms like Nrsimha and Matsya and Kurma. But what is this form? No feet, no hands, and big eyes. So in Sanskrit they call Daiva Netrena. Daiva means demigod, divine. Nature means eyes. In English we have the word supervision. If you're in charge of something, you are called a supervisor. And you have supervision. So the real person who has supervision is Jagannath. And why are his eyes so big? Because he's going home to Vrindavan. And he's in such ecstasy that he's going home to Vrindavan that his limbs go into his form and he becomes in ecstasy. So this is another reason why Jagannath is our ultimate shelter. Not only does he hold everything up effortlessly, but he sees everything. He knows everything. He supports everything. And he is also our ultimate shelter, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, because he is in our heart, Surid, as the dear friend. Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshya Dinatisthiti. He's in our heart, but he's there as the friend. And all he's asking is, help me go back to Vrindavan. He doesn't ask much. Our fallible soldiers in this world, whose promises are all ultimately empty, they ask everything. Our community, our society, our country, they ask everything. They say, give me everything. And in the end, they fall over. Like an old toy, or like a facade in a Hollywood movie. But Jagannath gives everything, and he asks simply, come and pull my rope. Come one day in a year, and come pull my rope, and take me home. So I hope you'll actually consider doing that, and come with your family and friends, and then you'll find actual relief from all difficulties of life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.